Hey you guys. Okay, so here's the situation. We planted everything, but that was actually like 2 weeks ago. So we all planted. You saw the video of us getting everything in the ground, and 2 days later, it started to rain, and that was before I really shot any like post garden video. And it rained and it rained and it rained and it rained so much that I actually came out to the garden and I dug a hole, like a sump pit, and put a little 12-volt water pump in it to run water out. And it rained so much that I just thought we've lost most of our garden. And I'm gonna show you what our current situation is. So here's the current situation. Notice all this orange. I do not, repeat, do not live in the South or Georgia. That is not clay. That is, there was so much, and you can see it, there was so much water sitting in this garden. There was so little airflow that came through it that algae started to grow on the top. And you can still see some of that algae, like the green. And what's happened is the sun has dried it out and it's turned this copper color. So I assume it's a copper algae. I'm no algae expert, but I'm willing to guess that it's a copper algae. However, all things being equal, I didn't lose that many plants. There's a tomato plant here that I lost. And there is a tomato plant up here, would have been right in here, that I lost. And that one might not make it, but surprisingly enough, all of our tomatoes, all of our peppers, I did see this today. We planted well, I didn't, but the kids planted what they thought was a pepper. That is clearly lettuce in a row of peppers. I didn't lose any peppers, amazingly, but we're gonna have to do something. Now, I did lose our cucumbers. All 3 cucumbers are, well, the one we planted plus the 2 are gone. Actually, this one I saw earlier, it's starting to slowly pop up. I ran the little Mantis tiller and cleaned up a little bit of that hole and try to rake some of this out. And that's what I'm going to use today. I'm actually going to work on replanting our green beans. I had planted green beans and like 3 of them had come up. So I'm going to replant green beans today. So I'm going to run that tiller, set up the tripod, show you. I'm going to run that tiller and just run some lines. I'm going to get that little seeder and we're going to plant green beans over on this side. It's supposed to rain the next couple days, so we'll just see how much I get done. It's only supposed to sprinkle or low chances of rain, not like these torrential downpours that we had. But I'm afraid that if I don't get those green beans in, it's the 1st of June. If I don't get those green beans in, we're going to be running out of time soon. So I'm going to run the tiller over there, come back in and try to clean up some of this mess. I mean, you can see the mess that I made. I don't even want to tell you why I put this trellis here in the middle. It's an embarrassing story. I'm going to set the trellis back over top of each one of these lines, and we'll do a video on that when we get there. That'll be a few weeks. These tomatoes have a little bit to go before we got to worry about trellising them. But for the most part, everything's bounced back. We just got to get a little bit of weed control. And generally, I just do that by with the hoe or whatever, but it's been so wet and there's such a rough area in some of this ground and some of this algae, I want to just bust it loose. So I'm going to run the tiller over here as well, try to clean this up as much as possible. Here's the Mantis. It is a model 7940. It has a little Honda I don't know what that is, Honda 25. This is what I'm going to use here today. And so actually, I did a product review. I'll link it in the description. I'll try to put it here on the screen too, that you can click on to see the product review of this. This is a fantastic little tiller. What I'm going to do is just kind of bust up 5 rows through here where I'm gonna plant my green beans. I haven't started this for several hours today. I started around lunchtime, and it's 8 o'clock, so 8 hours. I love it. It's a 1 or 2 pull start. It has a choke. I push the prime button one time, turn the choke, and pull the handle. An on-off switch up on the handle to shut it down. I'm going to set up the camera, but you see how easy it is. See the product review for this. There's a lot of stuff I love about this Mantis. This is a little 4-stroke. You don't have to add oil to it. You just pull it and go. So that wasn't too bad. This thing, it gets real deep. You can kind of see why I worked up over there. It gets real deep when you pull it backwards. And I was just working up that ground just to kind of dry it out a little bit. But this Mantis does a really good job of really just breaking that up. Again, you can see the reviews on that. So I'm gonna get this planter set up. We're gonna run a handful of rows, 5 rows down through here of Great Lakes bush beans. I love and prefer to plant bush beans over anything else. Great Lakes have always done a really good job for us. So I'm gonna get those in the ground and then maybe move over and try to till up some of the in-between rows here on the tomatoes. This is my planter for green beans. And it's got, you can order different plates for it. I just use it for green beans. What I like to do is, we've got a path here already tilled. You saw that. I'm just gonna do a double plant. So I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna turn around and come back. And we are putting more seeds in the ground than what we need. But I like to go through and weed out what we don't need in case some of them don't germinate. So I believe, especially as cheap as green bean seed is, it's like $6 a pound, to double plant that. And then weed out what you don't need, because it's a lot easier to remove after you've started than it is to put back in or try to replant afterwards. So I'm going to take this and go down and back, and then I've got another row here to do, and that should be, I've got 3 already done. These are the last 2 we have, and we should be in good shape when it comes to finishing our green beans. So the front wheel kind of opens up, works to the ground. This metal opens up the ground and the seed drops out from the back. And the back wheel is a closer. So the front wheel drives the gear that spins this plate, which picks up the seed. So to stop it from picking up seed, you just lift the front wheel up out of the ground. A little bit of dust left in there, but see how fast these make of quick work. Now, this is a model 1001B Esme Products Inc., Bristol, Indiana. We've got a couple of different ones in our family. My dad has one that actually looks like this one from factory had it too. That's got an arm that you measure your, kind of like the planter arm that we used. Use an arm that you can actually mark your rows that way. This one, I don't need that. I just eyeballed what our rows are going to look like, and we're planting green beans, for goodness sake. But you can see it does a pretty good job. It every now and then will leave a bean. Where'd that go? Right here. Give that a little chance. A couple of them down through here kind of come through, and any that we see that are above ground, just give it a little tap down, cover it with a little dirt. I'll probably come through and close up these rows a little bit so they don't hold water. Green beans don't like particularly wet ground when it's seeding. They'll rot out pretty quick. Okay, so we're a lot farther along now than what we were. I'm pretty happy with it. Here, I love this Mantis. You just grab it by the handle and you can just carry it to where you want it to go. I'm gonna come over here and till for a minute before kind of call it a day. Might try to put the pool cover on still. So not the most ideal scenario that we had, but I think we're making really good of it. I know working the ground with the tiller, again, not always the best thing to do. You know, you could work up some seeds from weeds and stuff. There's a lot of weeds in here, but I just really wanted to get that. The soil was so compact from all the rain that set in, all the mud that set in there. I think it was good to just get that busted back up. It's gonna rain here in the next couple of days, and that's gonna help water all this. This will dry out quick, but that'll help get water back to all these plants, and we're gonna start seeing some real growth, I think, here in the next 2 weeks with heat, with water. And I think we're doing really well, considering where I was at 2 weeks ago with the flash flood. This whole area was just a flooded mess, and so I'm very happy with our scenario, our current situation. We're gonna get the weed eater in here, clean up around the fence. We only have a fence because we just have so many rabbits and so many deer that if I don't fence it, my garden would have already been eaten within minutes of planting it. So I really am happy with the current look of this garden and how much better shape it looks in today than what it did even an hour ago. So next video will be just kind of progress of the garden. We'll start getting the trellis set. We'll intermix these in, you know, with some other farming videos. But I personally believe this is part of farming too, is growing vegetables, growing a garden, because it's just as frustrating as much work. I believe it's probably more work than actual growing a farm, growing your plants. It's more manual work. Probably not as stressful though. If I lost everything in this garden, it's not the end of the world. It'd be aggravating and frustrating, but not the end of the world. So stay with us. We're gonna keep working on gardens, working on farms, working on tractors, showing tractors. Give us a thumbs up if you like what we're doing, and have a great rest of your day. Okay, so start out getting the best shot of me, and then you'll see the planter.